Hello, friends. Coming back. Have some more thoughts to share today. The last week, I'd say one of the shittier weeks, possibly of maybe last 4 years. I can think back to about 2019, fall of 2019. I was having some paranoia and some disassociation. And looking back on this last week, disassociation. Too much to take in. Too much to. Okay, a certain point came where I was overloaded. So, according to information online, disassociation, one gal was saying that that Katie lady that's higher up on the relevant search of BPD, or usually any kind of mental health subject, was saying that there's lightheadedness and memory loss, or everything's not really coming in too clear. Everything's not. You're not recalling things, and also too, my behavior and my thoughts were getting. I was looking at a person that I was talking to. In my last video, I go over that a little bit towards the middle of the video on, possibly, is where it was. If you watch that video and you're watching this video, what I was saying was there was a female I was talking to, getting close to, and as usual, being open-minded, empathetic, because that's always how I've always been my entire life when getting to know someone. I've not been the person that has been apathetic towards engaging in another person. I've never been that person. If I've ever been apathetic during the times of having something to do with someone, it was simply my moods not engaging. Not friendship wise, not romantically. I've not been a predator type in that sense. If I've ever been a businessman or such, I'd like to also think that engaging business wise, I have done so also with empathy. Even if I am feeling nothing inside, which happens regularly, I still know my identity of my personality, and I still have the ongoing behaviors of my life. And that's how, if I'm on autopilot with no feelings, I know still that I'm going to do things this way with kindness, or I'm going to be at least civil or nice. And sometimes people they push buttons and will bring me to a point where I can get a little lippy. Though, with this gal that I was talking to, and I want to use this as an example for us to discuss disassociation, or psychosis. Psychosis, you're gonna think that you've got a grip, possibly, and not realize that you're slipping into it, and then the thoughts that you're having or whatever. And this is usually going to be by drugs, or this is going to be by exhaustion, emotional exhaustion, or if something has happened to you in your life. There's the strong possibility of disassociation or psychosis. And I'm saying that if I'm looking back on a period such as last week, I'm going to ask myself, okay, what was that? Because I've gone through that before. It's not, for me, it wasn't just sitting there for 10 minutes zoning out and then coming back and saying, where was I? Not really. This is through the day, through the night, and on to the next day, and then on the next day, and then the exhaustion is going because I'm thinking so heavily about something, or I'm exhausting myself over this person. And I know that all these years that I've stayed single, one of the major reasons for that is me, and what love does to me, and what feelings does to me, and how I get suspicious, and how I can have leaps in my feelings for them. So I can have weeks go by where I'm saying, don't take this too seriously, get to know them, don't take this too seriously. And then all of a sudden, say, something happens between me and them, and I'm looking at them and I'm saying, something is not good. Well, with this person that I was talking to, something wasn't good. Something that I wasn't really looking at real well. And that's my openness and non-judgmentalness that I've always had, where I can dig certain people. I can dig their what they say to me when they're lying to me. Because that's what you're going to have in relationships, is people are going to bring you closer to them. So they tell you certain things, and then you're going to get closer to them. And this is something that anyone can use. This is something people can keep in mind throughout the rest of their lives. Whenever they meet someone, those people are going to tell you sweet things to get you closer to them, if you're not doing that yourself. And you could even ask yourself, okay, what's my intention? Do I really like this person, or am I just pulling another person in closer to me? And why? I have a lot of pictures from this person. And I have a lot of texts back and forth with this person. And I even screenshotted a lot of the texts going back and forth. And after the last week, the reason that I said, all right, I'm going to close up the shop on this person, even though I have accumulated feelings, which is not so great when you're not wanting to be abandoned. For mood swing people out there, BPD, bipolar, schizophrenia, if you have issues with abandonment and you do not want to be abandoned, and you not wanting to waste your time or have your heart jerked around to the point where you're thinking about suicide, and then you get over it, and then I'll think back on it and think, that actually went through my head during that emotional, or during those mood swings. So this last week, my mood swings were about every hour And so I'd be smiling, and I'd think, "Oh, she's so great," and my mind is getting jerked around by compassion and empathy. And then the next hour, I'm thinking apathetically, I'm thinking suspicious, I'm thinking, no, don't forget. Like, I'm a completely different person. I'm saying, don't forget that there's this, though, that you realize this about the person. Don't forget about that. And then an hour later, I'm right back to where I'm smiling. I'm thinking, oh, she's great, though. And I'm looking at her pictures, although I'm twisted up. I'm lost. I'm disassociating. This is kind of scaring me because in my entire life, I've never, at least since quite a while back, since the last time I was really connected with someone, if I did during that time, I'm possibly not remembering it too well. During this time, I'm thinking that this is one of the scarier times of my entire life because I feel out of control. I feel like something is taken over inside of my mind, and I'm getting jerked around. I'm getting played with. It's not so much the person, the other person. It's more so my brain. Because a lot of people, I think, are not going to be open or dig too deep with another person because they're going to see a couple of things and they're going to say, that person's not good for me. I'm just going to go on to the next person. I don't seem to, in my life, to have that kind of opportunity because I'm a recluse and not many people come around my way. So if they do, if they peg me as a person that they can manipulate, they got a pretty good person that they can do that with. So this person is clearly a drug user. You know, I'm looking at their pictures and it's too obvious that they're using heroin. Too obvious. In my mind, the heart is the most deceitful above all things. My mind is saying that, well, I want that person to be, they look like they are mentally ill. As sometimes I can have rings around my eyes and look like I use heroin. I never have. And so those kinds of things are in my head, and that's where disassociating comes in, and I'm viewing things from a mood, a compassionate empathy coming in, and if I'm apathetic an hour later from mood swings and all the reasons that there is for that, I've talked about that in other videos, and a lot of other videos will talk about that as well online. The reasons for all that, the possibilities of that, you're born with it, or trauma from sometime in your life, childhood, or sometime in your adult life. If this is going on inside of my head, then if I'm reflecting on myself, that makes me think about taking myself out because I don't feel that I have a grip on life. And it's kind of bleak because I'm thinking, how about all the other times that I'll possibly meet someone 4 years from now or 10 years from now, as little as it is, where I meet someone and I connect with them. A manipulative person, they have many reasons to be loving with you. Sometimes a person is thinking low of themselves because they've burned so many relationships from using heroin. Heroin is going to do that. People are going, if you're using heroin, people are going to go away from you because it's, for one, the biggest reason is it's the thing that you're putting into yourself is drawing from other people. So you're going to have a lot of problems, and then you're drawing that in. You're drawing other people into that. You're making them a part of it. So if you tell them the truth, which this person is not, if you tell them the truth, then of course they're going to go away from you. So it's the same as I was saying in the last video. If you tell someone the truth that you are dating other people while you're dating them, mainly females, because they have more of the opportunity to do this, because more males want females. They have less standards, let me just put it that way. Then see, right now, just talking about it is making me kind of upset about how we're all manipulative to get to something in life. Dude, all things are manipulative. The married couple next door, they manipulate each other so that way they can get on. Because you're not always going to be okay with things, so you're going to go around things. You're going to get people closer to your situation so that way you can get a handle on things in life, so that way you can get what you want. If a person wants to have children and the other person doesn't want to have children and everything else is going so wonderful, you're going to manipulate that person so that way you can have your child. I don't think that I'm out of line by saying that, or off, or incorrect at all. We're all manipulative. Now here's the difference though between a heroin addict. They don't have anyone around, or they're losing people. They're losing friends. Their families are maybe I don't know, because they're I think that their families are going to be, they're still going to hand them money and do all that kind of stuff because they're not wanting them to go out and prostitute, and they're not wanting them to go out and do things that make them feel bad. And then, eventually it's going to get to a point where they're still handing them the money and they're still prostituting, or they're still doing something that's going to leach over into the family. So then the family has to turn their backs on that person. And I've thought about that a lot lately, and how difficult that is going to be for a family to do. Because I've seen it. I've seen families. I've known people that were living in the basements of closed down restaurants and stuff, and I got close to one female that was the same age as I was, and she was doing nice things for me. She got me a dog collar from when I had a little doggy, and she knew I had a dog. She got me a dog collar. She was doing nice things for me, and I knew her through a different thing than friendship type stuff. Not drug use. She was using drugs. And that's my empathy, and that's my compassion through how my brain is anyways. Because the same as they're lonely and such, so am I. The way that society turns their backs on a person with severe mood swings and other psychological situations, same as the heroin addict. So it definitely makes sense how they can cross paths in finding each other for love. If they're using manipulation to get you closer in, and they're lying to you because they have to get you closer in, you're not going to probably have a future with this person, because their life is in a downward spiral. Their life is going down, And whether they're scared of this or whatever, or they're clinging on to anyone that they can for the money to come in, or to actually have that feeling of love, which is superficial, because they know that they're lying to you. And then I'm at the point with this person where in the last video I said, is this person going to write me back? I went in, so it was 7 days. I went in, I noticed that they had written me, and I swiped it off, and I felt really bad about that. So here I was in empathy, and I know I was, because I was thinking, oh, well, what about this and this and this? So I looked at that, I said, oh, she wrote, oh shit, I felt bad, guilt, or whatever, even knowing these things about her, my empathy. And so I wrote her, and she, within 5 minutes, boom, she wrote back, okay, you back? Oh, good. And I'm not thinking, I'm still out of it. I'm still disassociated. Psychosis, possibly. Some strange stuff going on with my feelings, my body, just off, on, off, on. So strange things are happening. And my thinking patterns were, I was ruminating. It was bang, bang, bang. I was going over something over and over and over and over again. That's when I know that I'm in a different state. For anyone out there, this is important to keep in mind, because this is when you can do stupid things, in my opinion. You could do very stupid things. So she's writing me back, and I'm writing her, and she instantly goes into anger, because I had abandoned her for a week, whatever. She needed me, because that's what I am to her. I'm holding her up in a superficial way, even with all of her lies and all that stuff. So there is no future between us in that way. So now she's writing, well, I'm confused, I don't know what to do. Yeah, because she realizes in a more realistic way that I am a person. She's noticing this, that I can see through her shit, and I'm not calling her out on any of it. I'm alluding to some things to her, and there's fire under her ass, and emotionally whatever, and she's it's not going well for her in that way. So now it's a burden to her that I know these things, I realize these things. And so, yeah, now it hurts inside of me, and I realize I gotta move on, and she's not writing me the same as we were before. There's not really any affection. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that at this point there's gonna be the cruelty thing that a female does when they want you to go away. Because I have so much empathy at times, I don't go away. Her darkness is gonna keep going, and I have her social stuff. So if I am not gonna go away from her, and I'll keep looking at her pictures, I'm gonna see that her life is gonna decay from heroin. I'm going to see this thing that I'm already looking at in the pictures that I already have, and it hurts me a lot, and it makes me think about my life and how I'm an easy target. I am an easy target for my heart. I'm susceptible to people that need that love, that can throw you away and then hop on over to someone else that will give it to them again. You dig what I'm saying? So they can use you they can abuse you, and they can throw you away because they can recharge that with someone else. And it's real possible that you are special to them, and it's difficult for them to realize that they've got to break away from you. It's the fun juice is gone, and they don't have it anymore from you. Now let me reverse that to myself. How I can throw people away. And it's not to replace that person. It's not to say, oh, I can go get that from someone else. Because I'm a recluse. I'm not really talking with anyone. I'm not chatting online with anyone. I have some social stuff that I have where there's certain things that I put out, and then people will come in to my thing, and I'm extremely selective about who I want to talk to. And I'll notice that they'll say, hey, well, I noticed that you like this and this and this and this, and they're striking up conversation, and I'm not reciprocating. I'm not channeled into giving to caring. And now that alone that really does make me not want to live anymore. Just knowing that my existence in life is I'm mostly alone, and the few times in my life I meet someone that I actually think that I'm connecting with, the one other person that I absolutely connected with, I thought I did. She was a drug user. Cocaine. A different story with her. Cocaine, and she was moody herself. And at that time, I even said, she reminds me of me. She reminds me of me. This was before I knew about anything with moods or mental health or anything. That's the only thing I said. She kind of reminds me of me because she was erratic. And one of the last times that we were together with each other, she constantly had to keep going in the bathroom in public. 5 minutes later, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom again. All mad. I gotta go to the bathroom again. You know, that's how drugs, that's how you know that someone's deep into the drugs, is if a lot of the signs are getting closer and closer in time to each other. With the erratic anger, a lot of anger, a lot of strange changes that they're making. And even the people that they're surrounding themselves with, I've noticed, they change the people that they're around because they're losing relationships, and they're getting drugs from these different people. Another sign that someone's going away from you and using drugs and people are turning their backs on them is their appearance. Their appearance changes. Not the circles around their eyes necessarily. Their fingernails are dirty. Their veins are sticking out. Their veins look real dark. Especially on a younger person where, you see pictures of them from three months before, and they don't have any rings around their eyes. Their veins are not sticking out. Their hands are not all wrinkled up, and their appearance, their clothes, they feel less of themselves. They don't do their hair. They don't do anything. They don't take showers often. Their eyes, they look like they're tired, and they'll say that they're tired all the time. Heroin or opiates, pills. And a lot of times it's not going to be pills because those pills are 2, 3, 4 times the amount. Pills are more of a luxurious opiate for people that can go with that for a while. There's no doubt that a lot of them that use heroin are going to prefer an oxycodone or something like that. There's no doubt. So if everything starts to crunch down on them. They've got a grip. They've got a grip on it. I've got Kurt Cobain's journals book that I showed somewhere. I don't know where the video is. Somewhere in here. I talked about that a little bit. It's a good book if you want to check that out. He talks about some personal things about how when he got into heroin, he said at first he was only using it maybe once a week, twice a week, and he was getting to the point where he said if something happened at all that bothered him, or he was in distress at all, his go-to was just going and using more of it. So of course, it's more and more and more. It's going to accumulate. And for him, he had all the money that he could go get it whenever he wanted to. And he did. And his wife at the time was also using it. And fun facts on all kinds of videos I've watched about that. It's real possible that she's the one that got him on it. That she was the one that was getting him into it. Because a lot of his life started to go that way right before his Nevermind album came out. Right before. They got together right before all that happened. Her pregnancy, their marriage, it all happened fast. Fast. What the exact timeline is on their marriage and after the release of that album, it's possibly directly before or right after. Whatever it was fast. It all happened fast. And he was drinking cough syrup. Before. And so he was living in an apartment that was a studio thing as he was putting together Nevermind. He was being taken care of by the record company. And they put him right in a certain place. And she was right there. She went right for it. And the story is that she went for Billy Corgan, and Billy Corgan said, because he already had a girlfriend, and she showed up at the door when his girlfriend was there, and she got pissed. So she left, and she went directly over to Kurt Cobain. It's just, predatorial. How much of that is the actual truth? Well, you get to know about Courtney Love. Get to know about her a little bit, and you'll realize that she's manipulative and she's predatorial. Regardless, he still used it. He still took it. It took over his life, basically. And in that book, he's talking a lot about how he came about to use it. And he even says right there in his journal, as if he knew people was going to read this, which I am. He's saying, stay away from it. Stay away from it. Stay away from heroin. Stay away from opiates. And the sweetheart that he had directly after he had died. This was a friend of his that he was mingling with. That I think that he was probably thinking it was real cool, because they talked on the phone for hours, and they talked about favorite musics and all that, and they were relating to each other. And he wasn't getting this from his current relationship. She was using heroin. 2 months after he died, she died of a heroin overdose in the bathtub. And the night before, she had a visit from someone in Courtney Love's band. So she got possibly a little gift from so-and-so, because she died. You never know what was inside that maybe a boosted one or whatever. It's some nasty stuff in there, more or less. Just 2 months after he died, she died. So I know all kinds of stuff about people using heroin. I know, because I've been around a lot of people that have used it. I never was around them sitting there using it. I was around people that have heroin addiction. So now I've got all this. This person is still talking to me, somewhat fading away, big time. And that's the empathy of my personality that can come on strong. Now, if you look back through some of my older videos, I'm having times where I start to cry, and I'm going through certain kinds of moods, and it's right there for you to look at. And I never took them down, and there's other people that have been as vulnerable on here that I admired their videos, and they erased all of their content. And if you're watching this right now and you know who I'm referring to, your videos were great. They brought information to me that opened up things about myself and about life and everything, and how it impacts me and how it impacts others. So if you want to watch a grown man crying a little bit, go ahead and check out some of my older videos if you get off on that kind of thing. Or if you just want to see that there's actually a person with compassion and you need that, check out some of my older videos. There's not a lot of it. There's a little bit of it. And I remember it, and I look back on it and say, oh man, what was I thinking? I think that's the video where I in the title, it's gonna say love, from about a year ago. Things that have to do with loving people and all that. And I still think that way. I feel that more apathy has come over me in my life. And I think that I am less open to what kind of love people can have, or what they say. And actually thinking that what they're saying is sincere. I feel less and less of that in my life from those videos that I made. So in a way, you are looking at a different person in a way. Don't want it to be that way. It is, though. And I'm fearing, and I don't want to fear in life. I do have a little bit of fear or anxiety that it's going to get worse, that I'm going to turn off on people even more and feel more coldness. And all that's going to do is make my health go to shit. Because a lot of good health has to do with interaction with other people and feeling love and being loved. This is why children that are not shown proper love or abused have behavior issues as children and for the rest of their lives. So what I'm going to do with this person is I'm probably going to be kind, and I'm going to detach from them romantically, and I'm going to probably keep talking to them just because I feel compassion towards not turning my back on someone that was lying to me, that was using my heart, where I was even thinking about taking myself out, which is not unusual. I'll go through that anyway. Just it did have something to do with that. I'm not gonna hold that against them though, because it's a regular thing anyways. And I'll keep talking to them. And once she realizes that a lot of those things that I was sharing with her during those times is not there, she'll probably go away, which is also going to hurt my heart a little bit, because that's abandonment in a way. So what I've got to do is I've got to detach from her, and that's overwhelming my mind, and so I'm dissociating, and I'm going through psychosis, and I'm going through mood swings. So sadly, romantic relationships with people with BPD or bipolar, I'd say more so BPD, borderline personality, I don't think that there's any getting away from this. I don't think so. There's something I found on a website. If I had the link, I'd put it on there. I don't remember what it was. It had something to do with trust issues and BPD and trust issues. It was at the top, a Google search. And it said it was a list of 12 things or whatever that you can do to get along with someone with borderline personality, and you not having it yourself, or if two BPD people come together, or moody people come together, that one of the 12 things or whatever said on there that to be a trustworthy person, you know, that's one of the ways that you can get along with someone with mood swings, borderline, is to be a trustworthy person. And also to reassure them. So then you've got to do that maintenance stuff with this person. So now they're a burden, whether you are realizing that or not. Now they're a burden on your life because you have to do more for this person, because they're going to be a pain in the ass, because they're going to be moody. And one of the last things, one of the 12th thing was that take suicide seriously. Because what will happen is, during an erratic moment, an argument or whatever, it may even come out as, and it'll seem that they're using that as a manipulation so you go their way, which they possibly are. They'll possibly bring it up. They'll say, I feel not good right now, and this is what I'm thinking about, or I'm thinking about hurting myself or something. Yeah? You think another person wants to listen to that? You think another person wants to hear that when they're in an argument with you? It makes absolute sense why people go away from someone that's irregular, not so consistent in life, because you're whether you're wanting to use them or you're wanting to have a nice fair relationship. Life is rough as it is. What the hell are we going to do if the whole time there's the constant, I've got to constantly have them knowing where I'm at. I got to constantly reassure them that everything's okay, and I've got to be supportive of them. And what I'm supporting isn't a lost limb or some kind of physical. It is, mental health is a physical disability. It is a physical. The brain is physically disabled. There's a disability there. Who's gonna do anything for that? Who's gonna? The same for a heroin addict. I mean, how many people? If it was saying, what can you do for a heroin addict to be in a relationship with them, in a loving relationship with them? I see parallels there, where both are. You're gonna ask yourself, where in the fuck is this gonna go with this person? If you see someone that's actually trying, and this is a matter of will, if you see them trying, and it's in their heart that they really want to get away from the heroin, then you are a compassionate person to have something to do with them. And if they're not asking you for money, and they're going out and getting it from someone else in a horrible fucking way, then what a heart you have. And it is probable that it's going to turn out to be not good. And that is a fear of wasting your life, a fear of abandonment, a fear of being used by someone. I don't know about you, as a male, one of the biggest things that hurts my heart more than anything is thinking in a romantic relationship that they are with someone else in bed. It hurts me a lot. And if they're prostituting or doing something like that, I'm not going to have a romantic relationship with someone that's if I fucking know that they're a prostitute, I'm not, I mean, even online, it's gonna mess with my head. I'm not, so, if I can get over that and I can actually really love them and all that stuff, it's still inside of my mind. What's the future with this person? There is not really going to be a future with this person. So you're not going to want to go into the future with a person. So what I was saying is, if they're showing you that they truly want to get over that, or they're showing that they want to get over mood swings, and a lot of people do. They go to the DBT. They go to, because that if they're going through those things, they really truly want to make it to where they can not be a burden on other people so much, so that way they can just they can realize that it's their own grief that they can take on, and that is a horrible thing, to be alone in yourself and knowing that this is just my problem and it's not their problem. If I make it their problem, they're gonna go away. So how do you, if you feel like you're out of control all the time, there's always my other videos where I talk about sugar, and I talk about hormones, and I talk about eating well and exercising and all the things that you can do to make it a little less. Because it's obvious to me that if you're not exercising and you're taking in a lot of sugar and you're not sleeping enough and you're not taking it into consideration always, exhaustion on a daily basis, the mood swings are going to be worse. So now I'm even saying that with romantic relationships, you got to apply that to that as well, just as much. That it's going to throw you into shit town. It can. And it's scary. And it can get dark. It can get dark. And it's all inside of your head. And another person is involved with that. So here's your romantic relationship. Now you have another person involved with your shit. The same as a heroin addict who's lying to you. Or if you're lying to someone about having mood swings, you're not going to get far. They're going to know that you have mood swings pretty quick. The same with if you're a heroin addict and you're lying to someone about how you just covering your tracks, no pun, all the time, you're not going to go far anyways. And this is straight up personality. If someone can replace you and just get back to saying, "Oh, I love you," and showing you pictures of their bodies and all that, just to reel you in, so that way they get emotional, sexual, all that love stuff, where it's cut off at a certain area. So that's all I want. It's just to feel good. It's just I feel good with you. You are expendable. And beware. Beware of that. So really the only advice that I can have with you on that, or my tip, is if you're ever in a relationship with someone, you got to do everything you can to not get attached to that person. At least for a couple of months. That's my tip. And you can apply that possibly to any relationship that you're ever in. Just do everything you can to look at this person objectively as you're getting to know them. And if you can even go if you're close to in proximity, where you can actually get together with them physically, you probably want to do everything you can to not have sex with them for a couple of months. And I know that sounds extreme. If you can seriously do that and leave sex out of it for a couple of months, you are going to keep yourself from getting pregnant or getting someone pregnant. And that's probably number one. And more than anything, you can protect your heart, and you can protect yourself from going into fucking psychosis, or going into any kind of detaching from freaking reality in any way. Disassociation, which is also going to put you in a vulnerable situation where if you're thinking, "Oh, I've got to do everything I can, I'm just going to have sex with this person," mainly for females, I just got to have sex with this person right away or right now because I have to do anything I can to keep this person. Well, you're not thinking. That's what I'm saying. This disassociation and the psychosis is going to lead a person, and you could also call that lovesick, is going to lead a person to doing stupid things. And that's one of the worst feelings is a heartache, a broken heart. That's one of the worst feelings. And I've only felt it a handful of times in life, and I haven't felt it as much as other people. So when it does come around, it really fucks me up bad, real bad. I don't know if I can convey that enough. So if you stay away from people for a long period, years and years, and then someone comes in and they are toying with you, you are in a vulnerable situation. So that's my tip. Look at them objectively for at least 2 months. So be real careful about using the love word. Be real careful about sending your gifts with all your loves and kisses and hugs and all that stuff. Be careful with it. And get to know the person, because this is what I'm saying. If a person truly digs your personality, or they like things about you, and they're drawn to you for whatever reasons those are, whatever they are, then you really, truly can get people to fuck off real fast if you're not giving them that so fast. Even if it's 30 days, maybe 3 weeks, 30 days, whatever you think is even more reasonable, so that way you can hold on to them. So any guys out there that are just sending money to people or sending gifts to people because someone's saying, "Oh, I love you," blah blah blah. You're getting played. If anyone's out there just sending, of course, sending pics to a guy or whatever, you're just getting played. So and that's gonna hurt your heart. So this is a gift from me to you. A tip: cover your heart, cover yourself, because you are susceptible. As a mood swing person, you're more susceptible to getting fucking shit on. And it's all you got to do, instead of saying you did this, you did, all you got to do is take that finger and point it right back at yourself and say, fuck, no, I did it. It's my doing. Me. That's called accountability. So take that, my friends. Best to you. Best to your love endeavors. I'm done talking about this from now. The next video that I make, whenever I make it, is going to be about something different. I'll probably have something different. And these, when I come around and I'm going to have these videos, this is an accumulation of thoughts that I've been having. So I'd like to think that I'm sharing something good, something that you can use. So if it is, great. Have a good day. Enjoy your life if you can. And I'm always here if you want to chat with me. Take care.